The scripture today is the temptation of Jesus. It's found in Matthew 4. Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. And he fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and afterwards he was famished. And the tempter came and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread." But he answered, "It is written, one does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God." And then the devil took him to the holy city and placed him on the pinnacle of the temple, saying, "If you're the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, He will command His angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone." And Jesus said, "Again it is written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." And again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor, and he said, "All of these I will give you if you will fall down and worship me." And Jesus said, "Away with you, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve only Him." And then the devil left him, and suddenly angels came and waited on him. That's the spoken word and the written word. There's a lot of things in my life that I've done vicariously. I'm sure you have too. You might watch a travel show on TV, and you go to some other country or other place because the guide is explaining where you are. I mean, you don't literally go there, but you kind of go there. Maybe you have a friend that is good at a sport or an event or whatever, and you kind of live a bit of what their experience is by talking to them about that. You may watch Mike Rowe and Dirty Jobs and kind of get a feel for some of the real nasty jobs that they seem to find, or you can go dig gold in the Yukon, or you can watch a cooking show, or there's just lots of ways to live vicariously through somebody else's experience. I think that it's real temptation for us, speaking of temptation, is to kind of do that for Lent with Jesus. It's like, well, Jesus did it for 40 days. That was nice. And, well, what are you doing? In some church traditions, you're asked to give up certain things. I was at a monastery in South Louisiana years ago, and the monks there, they had to give up 3 things, and one of them had to be really hard. So they had to think about that. Then they had to submit it to the abbot to see if it was going to be approved, if one of them was really hard enough. Some of you have friends that maybe gave up something for Lent. Maybe? Okay. Yeah, it's usually like chocolate, or not using your cell phone certain hours a day, or I always gave up watermelon because that was pretty easy to do during Lent. Potatoes, that would be a sacrifice. Yeah. We have an opportunity to do something a little different during Lent that maybe helps us understand relationship with God, and how that we have opportunities to change in various ways. No matter how old we are, we still have opportunities to change. I was reading about a woman who suggested, why don't you try to drive a different route than you do? Maybe take a back road. just, make an attempt to do something that kind of gets you out of your normal routine, and you'll see some different things. Maybe read a book or a magazine that is different than what you usually read. Pick up a scripture and find some of those kind of arcane books back in the middle of it and try to understand what is going on here. This is different. This is not my comfort zone of the New Testament. These are all possibilities. And I'm trying to think about different ways to do Lent. We're not going to do a Tenebrae. We're going to do a Maundy Thursday this year. We've got different people writing devotions and or personal reactions to Lent. So I'm working on that for myself. And then we had questions that we gave out people, and the last one was, how is Easter different for you this year? Oh. How can Easter be different for us this year? We're kind of building toward that time. So what could make that different? I'm going to switch gears, and I've been talking about the ethical standards for congregations, and I should have done that first. But I have a story. A minister, a priest, a rabbi, and a Unitarian walk into a restaurant. Well, that was my lunch a couple of weeks ago on a Wednesday. There was a group of clergy persons from different faith base that met and working on an interfaith group. And this seems like it would be a good thing for a community to find ways for us to work together. And then the rabbi suggested, well, some of us maybe would have a chance to get to know each other. And so I don't know the rabbi, so I said, yeah. So we went to lunch, and a few of us there, and it's amazing that we have all these preconceptions about other faiths and all that, but sometimes they're just really not true at all. So that was good for me, and I'm glad that the interfaith group's going on. Disciples of Christ have always been interested in anything that we can do to work with other denominations. But our ethical standards involve respecting the beliefs and practices of others. Not that we agree with them. We may find their doctrine to be strange, but we respect, at least not make unkind remarks about people who are different from us in their participation in religion. And we also don't try to take members from other congregations, and we try to make our facilities open for any event that would be good for the community or other churches. Okay, sorry to jump around like that, but that's where I am today.